So, you know, wallahi, you know, the statement for Prophet in terms of, you know, you're on the religion of your friends. When you hear that and you look back at the people you was around in the past and how Allah slowly takes these things away from you in your life and then replaces it with khair, it's wallahi, it's a blessing. And we don't think about it enough. I genuinely believe that I don't think about it enough. Only recently I really started to think about who I was when I was younger and how Allah changes, you know, the shift of who you have around you, the things that you was doing in that time, how He removes those things from your life. Yeah. And he gives you hidayah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Jazakumullah khair for coming as usual, bro.
Barakallah feek.
Appreciate it. And obviously, first time we met was on that set of Catford, I remember.
Yeah.
That's the first time I met.
Yeah.
We was doing interviews for the Two Sides thing.
Did we know each other before, like through social media?
Probably, but I think that's the first time we actually met, man. So
yeah, that was a good day, man. We were, you know, filming some interviews.
Start from there, if you will. Obviously, I know we had Shuaib on. And what's your part in that story with regards to how you joined in the whole film? Because obviously, from our perspective, that was the first Islamic film that was put up. I haven't seen a Muslim film before that.
UK.
That was geared towards Muslims as well, necessarily.
I think I remember one, Mohammed Hablas.
Okay.
He actually made one a long time ago. He brought it to the UK.
Okay. It was
actually Ajib. So when I first saw that, I went to the View. It was in this View Cinema in Stratford. And surprisingly, Shuaib was actually in that screening and we didn't know each other then.
Okay.
And Ajib, subhanAllah. And then now, so he contacted me a long time ago. I think it was just before COVID it was maybe just before COVID. And he was saying to me, you know, I need a camera guy, just doing some stuff. This was just for his YouTube channel when he was doing stuff. And I thought, you know, I'm going to come there. I'm not going to do the filming for you, but I'll, you know, show you how you can improve it, how you can make it better with what I've learned over the years. And after that, he came up with an idea with another brother. And he came up with a script and everything like that. And then he was like, you know, we want to just try out, make another film, but properly, and we want to get you involved from the start. And I was like, yeah, no problem, man. I was interested in it. I've always been involved in, you know, filmmaking, music videos. I used to make music videos before Islam. So I've loved media since the day. And when I can see something I can do for khair and I can help someone,
then you do it.
I just done it. And yeah, we started making it as a YouTube video. So initially, if we was to say, yeah, we're going to make a film, we're going to use a cinema camera, cinema lenses, all of that. We never used any of that. It was just a normal camera you pick up on a day-to-day basis and film.
But it didn't look like that in the film though.
Yeah, it was the way it was graded and all of that kind of stuff, the sound, the acting, all of those things merged together is why it kind of came across like that. And obviously it's in the cinema, so you're going to feel like that as well. If it was on YouTube, you'd be like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so I said to him, yeah, you know what, let's do it. And it turned from just a YouTube video that somebody gave a couple grand towards to something that was, you know, even bigger, like towards the, like, I'd say midway through it became very stringent on ourselves in terms of time and stuff like that. We said, you know what, if we're going to put our time and effort into it like this, we may as well have a bigger outcome, you know, in terms of let's put it in the cinemas, let's make something big for the Muslims in terms of it not being done before, but it's a source of khair in the sense that, you know, the youth, you know, they like going to the cinema, they like engaging in stuff like this. So we thought, you know what, let's just put it in the cinema, you know, and we can recuperate some of the money that was put into it because some of it was personal funds from people. And, you know, we were able to do that. And alhamdulillah, you know, it was a big success. You know, it was a very strange and odd feeling seeing my work in the cinema and so many people watching it.
What was the sense of feeling? Because I can imagine, even from a perspective of building, when you finish something, there's that sense of pride, there's that sense of, you know what, achievement. Yeah.
So it was. I didn't know how to take it at first because my mum was there as well. Like, my whole family came.
The red carpet.
We made the red carpet. Like everyone wore suits and we made a big thing out of it. And I think because we'd done that, there was a lot of pressure and there was a lot of anxiety before it. But because we'd done a lot of rigorous testing on the screens, and I was happy with it. And, you know, alhamdulillah, it came out well, man.
Yeah, it did, man. I think
Sorry, Jazakallah if I can. So from your perspective, firstly, I thought, you know, because of the way you were in the screening and you're involved with Shuaib, you know, Sunnah guy, I thought that's a long-term kind of like relationship. You guys must have known one another for 10, 15 years to come to this stage. So that's something about that, you know, but also, did you work on anything like a movie before this one?
A movie, not so much, but in terms of like cinematics and how to film something and lighting and sound, I've known that for a long time. And it's grown over the years, you know, with people like Abu Bakr Patterson, who you know.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from people in the past, and that's aided me in terms of knowing how to get the right shots. I've done like short, like snippets and stuff like that, and nothing as serious as that. Where we spent literally like a couple of hours on just lighting up the room and positioning the cameras and getting the actor ready and all of that kind of stuff. Nothing from that dense perspective. It's always just been off the cuff, pull out the camera, working with clients, that kind of stuff. Not really films.
Okay. Because even with that now, I mean, look, the quality of it.
Yeah.
Somebody would say, look, you know what, you've done a few movies before.
Yeah.
Because you were the main person.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's like one or two brothers that were in and out. Yeah. Maybe get the second angle, but in terms of like the framing, the lighting, everything, I've done all of that. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. And that relationship with Shuaib.
Yeah.
Okay, and
we clicked, man. SubhanAllah, it was Ajib. Like when I first met him and he told me to come down and look at the stuff he was doing, it wasn't like, there wasn't really an awkward moment. It was very kind of straightforward. He's very willing to understand people and take on board what they're giving or advice they're giving, So when I was telling him maybe you should do like this, etc., he was very willing to just kind of go in that direction. And I think that's one great, Allahumma barik, great, how do you say, characteristic of him is that he soaks up everything. He doesn't just, he's not in one lane and one focus. My way is the only way, So.
How long altogether did it take to make it? Because obviously, ultimately, when it was shown, it was 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
45
no, it was about 45 minutes to an hour, just short of an hour.
Yeah.
But I think with credits and all of that kind of stuff, and just a little bit over.
How long did something like that take?
I'd say, I think it took us about a year and a half. There was some points where we weren't filming where we were. We had to retake a lot of scenes as well.
If you was to add the days, because I'm just trying to understand, because obviously when we was chatting to him, his angle was it's difficult to redo again.
Yeah.
Due to the amount of time and money that we necessarily didn't have and putting it in.
We were in a really weird position because when we started it was in COVID. And at that time we had a lot of free time. I was on furlough, I wasn't working, but I was getting income in terms of being able to provide for my family and stuff like that. So I just thought, let me utilize my time, because they were actually allowing people to film in COVID, as long as we had masks, social distancing and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So because we had the time and the ability to do so, that's why I think a lot of it was, it was possible. But I think if we were to do it in this moment, it'd be very difficult if there was no funding. Because, something on that scale, it was very stringent in terms of my time with my family, all of those kind of things that you take into account is very difficult without some form of funding that can sustain you whilst you're doing it and say, I'm able to do it and give that amount of time. There was times, literally, I remember one scene, we were filming in the cold. We were filming from like 6 a.m. until like 2 a.m. the following day. Long days. Yeah.
6 a.m.
Yeah. I remember one specific day, we filmed from we were getting ready from about 6 a.m. in his room, in his house, getting all the camera, everything together. And we finished the next day at like 2 a.m. in Luton.
Mad.
Yeah. And the police actually came up to us in the middle of nowhere in this. I don't know if you remember the scene where the boy comes into that man's car and he finds the strap in the back of his car.
Yeah.
That scene there, it was at like
park, I think.
Yeah, it was in a park. Yeah, that was at like 1 a.m. And the police came up to us. What are you guys doing? We were like, we're filming a youth project.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, cool, no worries. And we had Mars son and everything. Ajib was in the middle of COVID. It was like 2020. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, it was through Allah's fadl, we were able to complete it and put it out there.
It came out well, man. It came out well. I think the shame that that's upon all of us is the fact that we can't repeat this.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a shame on all the Muslim community that we can't come together, put money together and say, look, this is a vision and keep repeating it.
Yeah.
And make money from it at the same time. It doesn't have to be this kind of charity mindset. It's like, no, make money from it. People are watching it. People are paying for it. There's quality involved.
For it to be sustainable, you need to get paid from it. Everyone has a life. Everyone has bills. People need to look after themselves as well. So
Tim, just on that point. So we didn't ask, or maybe we did. I don't think we asked Shuaib.
Yeah.
Was any money made from it?
So the money that was made from it was just paid back for.
Okay, so there was no profits per se.
No, not really. No.
Okay.
I think there was some remaining, but I think it wasn't a large amount. A lot of it, there was a lot of money that was put into it from people's pockets. I'm not going to say who. That's from them and their good deeds, but a lot of that was paid back to people, and
And the other thing being now, okay, you've gained a lot of experience, gained a lot of skills.
Yeah.
I'm sure with Shuaib and yourself, you've gained and created networks.
Yeah.
And what I'm leading to is why not look into another project, but not just with one movie, 2, 3, 4 or something. I said to Shuaib, because look, visuals, it's now, for the youngsters, that's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
People hardly read, they might not even listen that much. They're watching kind of like movies and so on. If we can, through movies, instill some positivity, then that would be good.
I think the main problem I see is a lot of people who want to invest, they want to see the numbers, and because there's no real evidence to say what you'd be getting back from it in terms of investors and people who would fund it, it's very difficult to attain that kind of, you know, funding. Number one. And number two, I think I do agree with you. I feel like it's very important to have these kind of things. You know, films are a very good way of expressing emotion and, you know, telling a story and getting people behind an idea of something. And, you know, I for instance, as an example, when I first took my Shahada, one of the first things I'd done was watch the YouTube video. And I think it was like Merciful Servant or something like that. And it was predicting, you probably watched them in the past.
Yeah. They're up, man. They're like 1 something million.
Yeah. And you used to sit there with your thoughts and used to think about a lot of these kind of things. And in that time, what they were doing was they were pictating things in these videos, and they were making you imagine things. And
they had a lot of
visuals. And it was a very key factor to why I looked into more of Islam, was that point of visualization, audio. And they were at a very high standard when I was watching it in terms of what was around at that time.
Because you know the brother you met, Reese was just here earlier on. So Reese came with his mum to the mosque. Mum's not a Muslim, but Reese took his Shahada a few months ago. And basically the mums watched The Message. You know, Anthony Quinn. I mean, good actors. Old 1970s or 76 or something like this.
Mad.
And you know what? It's really created kind of like a good image of Islam and a basic understanding. So movies do play a part. And also, you know, you mentioned Muhammad Hoblos. So I think there was something in Canada. I think Guna Muhammad, I've seen trailers.
Purple. Guna sent me, it was amazing.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I've seen trailers. So can't there be a network between, because these are like English-speaking countries now. So between America, Canada, you know, New Zealand, Australia and so on. And the brothers in Australia are quite advanced.
They are. I agree.
Have you lot looked into it, you and Shuaib?
Not, to be honest, like since the film was released and the screenings were done, and Shuaib, you know, he took a little bit of a different route in terms of what he wanted to achieve. And I don't blame him, because what happened with the film, there was a very big burnout after the film. You know, we put a lot of time and effort into it. So like for him, he went down a different route in terms of what he wanted to achieve. And obviously social media went quite big. And I've had endless people come, oh bro, when's the next video coming out? When you guys are I said to him, listen, I'd love to do another one, but like he's on his journey and I'm on my journey. And I think in terms of, I do agree though, I think there needs to be some form of, there's some brothers like they're trying a thing like with Rizwan, he does a few things. And there's a few other brothers who are making stuff, but in terms of doing it at a cinema level, putting it out in the cinemas, I think it's a longer journey than being able to just, you know, get a few brothers together and make it. It's such a big thing, you know, and I think it would take a lot for it to happen, you know.
But I think, you know what, just starting the discussion,
I agree,
might take a few years, because also, you know, I mean, behind the scenes, that's you, Shuaib, you know, you're doing the kind of the editing, you're doing the filming and so on. Then you've got the angles of the actors. You've got the Nasheed artists in there. You've got the brothers who acted in there. Everybody had a high standard. They need to also develop in that industry. And I'm looking from an angle of, look, you know what? Through visuals, providing some sort of change. Not just for the Muslim community, the wider non-Muslim community and so on. You know, the youngsters came, we had a school visit on last week. So I'm speaking about sins, but for some reason I've gone onto the smartphone and images. And one of the kids, he says, he used the word, he said, look, I said, what kind of images am I talking about? Was it not unwarranted? What did he say? He used the term. And I said, you know what, that's what it is. Inappropriate. He said, you're talking about inappropriate images. This is like a primary school kid. I said, exactly. So meaning, you know, even the non-Muslims are seeing what is theirs inappropriate. Can there be an appropriate alternative that the Muslims are bringing? Do you understand?
I agree. I think it all depends on, because you have to think about your audience mainly, firstly. And I think the direction Shuaib went in was a very good direction. I'll explain why. Is because the retention span of the youth nowadays is very small. Like in my days, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and YouTube's now becoming, again, people are now getting back onto it. But I think, and it always has been there, but I think in terms of retention spans and stuff like that, I think a great place to start, if someone was to do that, would to be make short form videos that you can easily put out on Instagram that can enter somebody's heart straight away. Because, you know, to build a film, to build up the hype, to grab funding from it, to to build a whole, as you would say, maybe a copy of Hollywood, it'd be very difficult. And I think you'd need a whole entity and a whole load of funding to do it. Yeah, it's very difficult. But I think in the short term right now, what we're seeing, I think it would be maybe good for people to come together, maybe make stuff that you can put out easily on social media, you know, that kind of stuff.
Because you know what, sorry, Abdul, you want to ask something, just the last one. Muslims are also looking for. And also non-Muslims who have a bit of values are looking for something which is family friendly. So I'll give you an example. Look, the Turkish drama. It'll be about don't be a hypocrite, be loyal, be committed, be courageous, you get married. You know what? So people are looking for an alternative which is, you know, we might say, look, halal, which is kind of family friendly. So there's a passion there.
I agree.
Yeah, that needs to be explored basically.
No, I agree.
And it's creating in youngsters, it's giving them positive kind of like values.
There's a lot of creators.
How do you know about the Turkish drama?
Heard about it, brother. Heard about it, brother.
I know which one you're talking about.
How did you know about the Turkish drama, Ak?
El Turul, Seljuk, those kind of things.
Okay, them ones, the halal ones.
The ones you watched and you told me about.
But yeah, no, I think there's so many young brothers that are, you know, creative, like young brothers that I've seen now on the come up in terms of filmmakers, video makers, content creators. So I think the future's bright. In terms of like short term, I think, yeah, the direction it's going in, I think it's good. But I think there needs to be people like that take that initiative and say, you know what, let me make some stuff that's going to enter the hearts of the youth, because there's so much out there, so much filth, you know, constantly being made by people who want them to see it.
100%.
You know, and it's very hard to make stuff that can counter it, you know, if it's not, you know, at a certain standard, because they expect it to be at a certain standard, because that's what they're seeing.
You know, I think when it comes to short form, it's definitely different though, because you'd see a lot of crappy videos go viral.
Yeah, no, you would. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I think nowadays it's a lot more about what is being said, the content, much more than how finessed it looks.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like the standard it's not just the visuals; it's about what's being said, like you said. And you know, these people are catching their hearts, and they don't even know about it, especially with the music and all that kind of stuff.
And Tim, I agree with him, because look, if you look, a lot of the stuff that might be now, Netflix as an example, it might not even be. It might be a series. It might be 10 episodes, 20. So meaning, you know, there is an appetite for stuff, but I think the quality and the standard, that's what he's referring to. So if something is of higher quality and good standard, I think people will watch.
It's on both sides of the coin though. It's the short form and it's the long form.
You know? I think
there's no counter.
I think definitely long term we need to get to that, but
I agree.
Because we're not in that field. We're definitely doing well in the short form, mashallah, Shu'aib, you know, Akhi Ayman, a lot of brothers, alhamdulillah, getting that viewership. People are following them, and they're promoting good stuff at the end of the day. So rightly so, do you know what I mean?
You have to make Tim into a Spielberg, Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg, someone calls me that, it's funny. But no, it's I think the beautiful thing about even the film, there was some people that took part in it that weren't really, quote unquote, practicing Muslims, and it ended up changing their life, especially the main actor. You know, I'm not going to expose what was going on before, but you know, his life completely changed from the film, from a deen perspective, and from, you know, just from a natural perspective.
Probably the brotherhood around him at the time as well.
Yeah, we were sat, for instance, with one of the scenes, we were just sat down, and one of the scenes was very, very similar to what was happening in my life when I was young. Not in terms of what there was going, it was very different, but there was a specific scene, and there was another brother, Shahida, who was there as well, and we were talking about our experience. It was like 3 a.m. You know, when you're tired and you're just
waffling. You're
just high from the tiredness, you know, and you're kind of just talking a lot. But it was getting really deep, and we were speaking about these experiences, and he was taking it in, and you know, it was benefiting him a lot. And like you said, being around the brothers is a big difference.
But even I think I mentioned Shuaib, like Ali. Yeah. In terms of acting,
you got to put Ali with a belly so people know.
Yeah, Ali with a belly. Yeah.
You know, the role suited him.
Yeah.
He acted out well.
He added a realness to the
Alhamdulillah,
film.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Because there was like one thing with the film, I think it's definitely tailored to a certain audience, but I think in order for it to achieve a certain feel and reality, you have to bring in people that are, you know, understand what's going on the streets, etc. Sure. And because I knew Ali already, and I spoke to him, I said, listen, we need someone to fit this role, because we can't just get any Tom, Dick and Harry to do it, you know? So I spoke to him, and he was up for it.
That's why he's auditioning today, man. Look, it was a different style. Today he's saying, look, Tim, I'm here for you, man. Tim, I'm here.
Nah, come on.
When I spoke to Ali,
Denzel, man.
The Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. I think we don't do a lot of movements, we just stand there and just point at things.
make a halal training day.
Let's go back a bit. Obviously, we've gone straight to that, but
yeah.
Obviously, your young days. Where are you from originally?
So I was born in South Africa. Okay. In Durban specifically. My mum's from Durban.
Durban.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mum's from Cape Town. I was born in Durban. My dad's British, but he's got like Italian blood. He's got like some, other kind of, I don't know what it is. My dad's got a crazy mix, but yeah, his mother's from the UK. She was in the World War II. She's 100 next month. She's still alive. So yeah, my grandmother. Yeah. So that's a really.
She's still in South Africa.
She moved here. Actually, my dad's British and his mother was British. She moved to South Africa with him. She stayed there, but then once my grandfather passed away, she moved back to the UK where my dad's brother is. So I've got a lot of family over there still with my mum's side. But I'm originally born there and I moved here when I was about 3.
You stayed there? Okay, so you
moved here. Yeah, moved here when I was 3. My mum, my dad found a better job here. They sought a better life.
You didn't go back and forth to South Africa?
We did for like the first couple of years. It was difficult. My mum's family was there. Even my dad's mum and dad were there. So we used to go back a lot. But then as I grew older, it became more expensive, inaffordable. And we didn't go as much, I've been maybe once in the last 10 years. Yeah. And it also there's a lot of crime and a lot of danger out there. It's, it's hard, man. Even especially where my auntie lives, yeah. Yeah, it's not easy.
So where did you move when you came here?
I moved up north. So I originally moved to an area called, what was it? I can't remember. It was towards Wales, but it was only for like a couple of months. No, sorry, Newcastle, not Wales, Newcastle.
Okay.
Only there for a couple of months. And then we moved.
Proper north?
Yeah, proper north, like far. It's towards Scotland. And then they moved further down south towards Doncaster. So I grew up there. Alhamdulillah, I grew up in my parents were good to me. I grew up with good morals in terms of being a good person, from my mum specifically. My dad, he was very...
Sisters?
Yeah, one brother. I had a very, my how would you say, my youth and my teenage years were, solely around development from my mum. Like my dad, he was working, and never really used to see him. He used to come home 7, 8 o'clock in the night. I never really used to, we had that bonding, like he used to take me to sports and stuff like that. But in terms of my real like morals and who I am as a person, I've taken it mainly from my mum.
So she gave you a lot of guidance.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have that real strong relationship with my father, but I don't blame him, what he went through as a child as well, with his parents and stuff like that. It was difficult to connect with him, but now I've got a lot more of a stronger relationship. He's seen me change as a person in terms of becoming Muslim, etc. And it's helped my relationship with him especially. But yeah, I'm like, throughout my youth, it was always my mum that was always there for me.
And religious values at that time, were it Christian religious values that your mum and dad
So my mum, subhanAllah, so she grew up with Christianity, but she believed in Tawheed. She never believed, Isa alayhi salam was a man, etc. And she still believes that to this day. My dad, more of an atheist. So I never grew up with a religious kind of family. My mum took me to church here and there, but that was just to kind of, it's just part and parcel of being in the UK, here and there you'd go to church and whatnot. But yeah, that was kind of my upbringing, no real religious kind of background. I think that's why it was a lot easier for me to take Shahada in terms of my upbringing, who I believed Allah was, Yeah, definitely.
Moving forward to becoming a Muslim, what age did you become Muslim?
I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, in college. So...
While you were in Doncaster
Doncaster, yeah.
You're still in there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took Shahada when I was 18. I'm 29 now, so about 11 years to be Muslim. And I took it, it was a strange journey because it began kind of, as a youth, I was I was a bad man child in school. I left school with like maybe 1 or 2 GCSEs in sport BTEC and science BTEC. Those are the only ones I had. But when I left school, I kind of, I got into a few problems with some stuff, and I was put on youth offenders. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when I was going on to these youth offender courses with YOI, I had to go once a week to meet somebody outside of the community service. I had to meet a lady, and this lady, she helped me streamline my creativity. So I used to make a lot of music videos with my camera and stuff like that, and she helped me streamline my mentality massively. And that's where I found my love for creativity. And I went, you know what? Because at this time what was going on, I was in level 1 college, just messing around with my friends, getting up to, mischief. And she helped me streamline that creativity. So I went from college, I redid my GCSEs, I went from down the angle, I'd done my maths and my English again. And I helped just kind of stabilize what I was trying to do and what I wanted to achieve. And I went through college.
How did she streamline it?
So when I used to go, I used to just say I'm not up to nothing. I just make music videos for my friends. I used to just spoil it off. I used to just go there. I used to say, yeah, I jumped on a bus when I didn't. I just got the money from them. I used to be that kind of person. I used to lie a lot. But then when I went there and this lady, she found out that I liked media and creative media. She saw that and she said, you know what, let me try and focus on that. And she helped me actually get out of my community service and all of that kind of stuff as a kid. And she just helped me a lot, you know. And I don't think a lot of the youth, they have that kind of support and those mentors that they need.
Sometimes, you know, it's just like one person that is needed.
Yeah, exactly.
To bring about a change in someone. You know, there was a Janaza Thursday. A brother passed away from Redbridge. So I went to the Janaza in the Gardens of Peace Cemetery. It's packed out. But there's a lot of youngsters.
Yeah.
But he wasn't young. So I said, look, how come those youngsters are here? Maybe 10, 15 years ago, he was a teacher in Newham. So these were his students. Now for him to have such an influence, they remembered him after so many years that he passed away, we're going to come to his burial. You know, so, you know, that lady, what created for you in terms of creativity, work, eventually maybe even Dean. You know, it's like a lot of that.
I think if I didn't have that streamline in terms of what my direction should be, I don't know where I'd be right now, I'll be honest. I was just, you know, getting up to mischief as a normal youth.
That saying, that African proverb about it takes a community to raise a child, that's where that proverb makes sense. Because she didn't have to give you that advice.
Yeah, she didn't. Yeah.
It's not, well, it is a job, but you know, some people do more than what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
They do it from the heart. They do it for they feel like there's a responsibility upon them. And if everyone kind of done that
100%.
in the streets, in the mosque, on the road, they don't know you actually, but they're just giving you advice that they would probably give to their own son.
Yeah.
That goes a long way than just doing a job and just ticking boxes for the sake of ticking boxes.
Yeah, I agree. It was, you know, it was a difficult time, like at those times that, like, my mum, she had problems with her heart, and my father, growing up, he had a lot of kind of issues with his health, and, you know, it really, like, it set me off balance. But then having that lady that can sit me down, that's external, outside of my family, and say, you know what, you like media, why don't you just go and do something like that in college? Because I was all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life at all.
Tim, you mentioned sibling. Is he older or younger?
Older brother, yeah.
Older brother.
He was a lot more focused than me. He grew, like, growing up, I always looked up to him, and since that, he was always mature with his decisions.
How old? What's the age difference between you and
3
him?
years.
3 years.
Okay. Yeah, he was always wiser with his decisions. You know, he was around better people, better friends, and, you know, me growing up, I just wanted to be involved in mischief. I didn't really care, and I think a lot of that would happen from, you know, when my mum had heart conditions when I was younger, and from myself, I coped with it a lot differently to my brother. And it just set me off the rails. And from school, I just continued that mischievousness. And then growing up, I just didn't find that direction of what I wanted to do in life. And then outside of that, I was always doing media. So I've done it literally since school. So that's all I know. And I think if I didn't do media, I don't know what I'd be. Don't know where I would have been right now.
You mentioned you took Shahada at 18.
Yeah.
I mean, you said 11 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, at that time, maybe it wasn't, let's say, cool or fully acceptable to take Shahada at that young age. Nowadays, 14, 15 are coming. One, you know, what kind of led you to that? What was the influence? Was it friends, people, neighbors, what you're reading, videos? You know, just give us some background to that journey.
My initial time that I saw, because it's bad saying this, but growing up, when I thought about Islam, I thought about Asian people. Because that, like, and maybe some Tanzanian and African people that was in my area, I never really thought and understood Islam for what it actually should be. Because up north is very different, you know, in terms of seeing Muslims and how they act and stuff. In here, you know, you can meet one easily and they'll greet you and they'll speak to you. Whereas there, it's a lot more segregated, people in their different areas. But when I used to go to Sheffield a lot, from Doncaster, Sheffield was right next to it. And I once met a brother that I looked up to. He was an older of mine. He was a Caribbean brother, mixed race. And he was a Muslim, he was a revert. Although he was involved in a lot of stuff that, you know, a person shouldn't be involved in, I used to always see him pray. I used to ask him, why are you praying? Like, what are you doing? What's this prayer that you're doing? And he spoke to me and broke down to me in Islam. Because in Sheffield, it's very diverse. You see Muslims left, right, and centre. So you see all types of Muslims. And more in the towns that are surrounding it, not so much. So he broke down to me Islam, and from a basic perspective, I was like, okay, made sense. And then I went away, and I went back to where I used to live. And I had some people in my area, some Pakistani brothers, and they used to sit in my house. We used to chill in my house all the day, every day, and we used to have debates and speak to each other. And if it wasn't those two brothers in my area, I wouldn't have known about Islam to the extent I should have, you know. And they gave me a real kind of insight into Islam. And I took a break in terms of understanding it. Like there was a point in my life where I kind of, in a way, ran away from home. I lived outside of, you know, my house for a long time, a long period. And in that time, I was just, you know, delving in the dunya, as you'd say, and getting up to mischief. And then when I came back and I started going on, you know, the youth offenders course, and I was meeting this lady, I ended up staying in my area, and I started kind of really conversating with these brothers that were in my area, and I wanted to understand the religion even more. And as I was doing that, kind of they were saying, you know what, there were some questions I didn't really know, so they sent me to an imam that was in our local town, and he answered every question I asked from the Quran and from the Sunnah. And growing up from Christianity, a lot of it's based on emotion and not really delving into the evidences of why we believe what we believe in. You know, a lot of it's a spiritual and an emotion kind of belief.
Do you remember some of the questions you asked?
More about, you know, who Allah is, understanding Tawheed. You know, what, like it was quite in depth. Like I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos about Islam. I used to, you know, why is Allah above his throne, etc. I used to do Aqidah classes, so I used to go to them before I was Muslim. And that's why I'd ask these kind of questions, because I really wanted to understand who Allah is. I didn't want to just follow a religion and say, you know, this is what I follow and that's it. You know, I kind of really wanted to understand it. So as I was going to these classes, he was breaking it down to me, and it was ajib to me because, you know, Islam is so definitive in terms of every single aspect of it. Who Allah is, what's going to happen when you enter your grave. It's so descriptive, and even when you enter Jannah, etc. And when I was finding out these things, it was piercing my heart straight away. I was like, you know, this has got to be the truth. So as I was going to, I went to a few more, and then I said to the brother that lived in my area, listen, take me to the mosque. So they took me to the mosque, and it was Jummah. They was doing Jummah, and I heard the adhan. I saw the different cultures, and you know, I thought this is me. You know, and then literally, subhanAllah, a year and a half before I went to university, I took Shahada. Sorry, 1.5 years before I went to university, I took my Shahada. So Allah saved me from a lot of the fitna of
university.
You know, in university. Yeah.
Everyone talks about that.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, you know, that was a big blessing.
How was it? Because obviously a lot of people talk about when they become Muslim, like there's a weight that goes off their shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah. I think a weight in terms of
the pressure to put yourself become Muslim is what, I don't know.
Not so much. There wasn't so much of a pressure relief for me. It was more kind of a shift in terms of who I am as a person. And it can be a good thing and a bad thing, and I'll speak about that in a little bit why that is. But there was a change in my life in terms of what I was doing, the people I was around, the stuff I was getting up to, and what I wanted to do in life. You know, Islam ultimately, when I accepted it, it helped me tunnel vision what I was doing even more. Like for instance, in college, I was doing stuff that was about the deen in my last year, even though I'd been Muslim for like a couple months. I was making stuff about, you know, being a Muslim and stuff. I wasn't shy of it. You know, I was proud, even though a lot of people in my town weren't doing it. And when I had done it, people were like, "Why are you doing? What are you talking about? You're a Muslim, man." Do you know what I'm saying? Like up north, it's a taboo thing. It's, you know,
especially Doncaster. When you said to me, Doncaster, I'm thinking,
That
doesn't sound like there's a lot of Muslims up there.
Yeah, no, there's not. There is now, and when I was growing up, there was, but in certain areas there was more, and certain areas there was less.
Did you feel welcomed by the Muslim community? You mentioned,
yeah, massively. I think that's one of the reasons I took Shahada. I think if there wasn't that kind of cohesiveness and support, I don't think I would have taken it. I don't know, even like, you know, Alhamdulillah, it was a big blessing, man. Big blessing.
So once you obviously became Muslim, obviously we said about you went to college, or you was going to go to uni. Which one was it?
So I went
in college.
I was in college, yeah. I was studying media from level 2.
And
so I did level 1, then I did level 2, then I did level 3. I did really bad in school, so I had to really work my way up. So I was 2 years behind when I went to university.
Studying media again.
So I graduated in film, television in Greenwich.
MashaAllah.
So I moved to London. And then when I moved to London, I just stayed.
So from Doncaster, you came to London?
Yeah.
So now you're about 20? Now you're about 20?
Yeah. No. When did I go to university? So about 19. 19. I started when I was about 19. Yeah. Okay.
Big shift in terms of London and Doncaster in a general way.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And also in a religious way. You must have seen a big kind of like
change. It was a big change. It was a big change in terms of what I was upon in terms of my Aqidah was very different in terms of what I took when I came here. You know, and when I moved to London, I met a lot of good brothers. They got me involved in a lot of good initiatives. It taught me more about the deen. Because the first year or two, very difficult for me because I was still in my area, still around the people I was around. You know how it is when you first take Shahada, you haven't got the right people around you. It's difficult. But when I moved here, some people even say, you know, if you want to change yourself, make hijrah. You know, even if it's from one area to another, you'll see a big difference. And when I done that hijrah from where I was living to London, I completely cut out all my friends.
Cold turkey.
But it wasn't a cutout where it was a bad man cutout where, nah, sorry, I'm not talking to you no more. You lot are on that stuff. I'm like, yo, listen, this is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm gonna go there and that's it. Wherever it takes me is where it takes me. And, you know, alhamdulillah, I managed to stay. You know, I got a job, I got married, alhamdulillah, you know. Ended up just staying, and it separated me from a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of the people that I was with. You know, I could have easily been in worse situations, and, you know, but alhamdulillah, especially for those two brothers that were in my area, although they weren't perfect and I wasn't perfect, what they, you know, what they taught me in terms of the basic stuff of Islam helped me a lot.
Just focusing on, so you graduated from Greenwich University, again in media.
Yeah, Greenwich,
Greenwich, alhamdulillah. And after that, in terms of work, because I don't know who mentioned to me, I think somebody mentioned you started to work for Sky, or maybe that came at a later stage. I know you were Iman Channel.
Iman Channel,
if you can go through your journey of employment in the media industry, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim organizations, but, you know.
So through university, I was always active in terms of making stuff. So I bought my own camera. I was making stuff for the Islamic Society. I was helping them out. And then gradually through university, I met different brothers. So I met another brother who you guys know. And he introduced me to the brothers at Iman Channel. And then I got involved with them from, like, I think, second year in university. And they brought me as an apprentice.
What, you were at uni when you got involved with?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's how long I was around them.
Mashallah, okay.
And so I got involved with them. You know, they brought me in under their wing. And Abu Bakr Patterson, he brought me under his wing. He was my media marabbi, you know. He's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
He taught me the ins and outs, cabling, lighting, framing correctly, how to address yourself in front of people. Because I was just, you know, a young boy just trying to do stuff, you know, and he took me everywhere, you know. We went to Wales, we went on Umrah together and done some filming there, doing a documentary.
Yeah.
So they took me under their wing in terms of Iman Channel, and they took me under their brotherhood as well. Sure. Very strong brotherhood there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it changed me as a person. Yeah.
And from there, so from Iman Channel, any individual initiatives, especially in the media kind of like field, and also after Iman Channel, sorry, did you go to Sky? Were you working for Sky, or was it?
No, I wasn't for Sky. So I work currently now for IMG Media.
Okay.
So they work on like production for like Premier League and stuff like that. But so I went from Iman Channel to them, but I was at Iman Channel after university for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, so I graduated from university in 2018. And then I was with them for about a year and a half. So end of 2000, and then literally I got my new job and then COVID hit. And I was on furlough, IMG, yeah. So I worked for them as like a, you know, streaming engineer, delivering streams around the world.
Mashallah.
At the start, it was more like UFC kind of stuff and Premier League and tennis and football and stuff. But now it's just more tennis and like Amazon stuff. But
how does that work? Sorry. You streamline their videos?
No, we do. We work with streaming the videos to different platforms. So, for instance, the Premier League, they had their own Premier League application. We just streamed it to them, etc. That's the kind of stuff they do.
Yeah, for me, it's speaking algebra still.
Yeah, but that's why I was in.
I don't even know what that means, actually.
So I'm managing a team now for, you know, a group of people in terms of just delivering streams around the world, and that's it. You know,
so you're not actually doing a video and all that stuff.
No,
it's more just
all
the
online based
side of things.
It's all online based stuff. Yeah, but I've outside of that, from my time at Iman Channel up until now, I've always done my own stuff, worked with clients, done my own productions.
I see you do a lot of things with Riso, mashallah.
Yeah.
And construction.
With who, sorry?
Yeah.
Riso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Musa.
Musa, yeah. Okay.
We worked on stuff in Brixton, but yeah.
So obviously we jumped a few things. Obviously, a lot of people that watch, there's a lot that I see that are not Muslims that watch this. So
yeah. When
you became Muslim, what's like the difficult thing? Because a lot of people think to become a Muslim, you have to stop everything. That's what everyone says. Oh, I can't be a Muslim. I've got to stop drinking alcohol. I can't do this. I can't pray and all that kind of stuff. So how was it becoming a Muslim? Like living as a Muslim?
Living as a Muslim at the start was very strange because obviously my mum, you know, but alhamdulillah,
how did
like
she take it? Sorry.
Yeah, so my dad, he was a little bit more confused. He doesn't really care. He didn't really, my dad, like I said, I didn't really have that connection with my father growing up. But with my mum, she was a little bit more understanding. My she used to be a social worker, so she used to work with a lot of Muslim families and helping them with their, you know, working with them and their children, etc. So my mum understood in terms of, you know, a Muslim perspective, who Muslims are, and in terms of change, she knew that it would change me. So she was fine with it. My mum, since the day I took Shahada, she knew that Alhamdulillah, I'm glad he's, at the start initially, like, it's just a thing, he's just doing it to, I used to try different things, used to be like, yeah, cool.
It's just a phase.
Yeah, it's a phase. But then as it got more serious, just saw that I'm changing myself. I'm growing a little bum fluff on my chin. I'm dressing differently. I'm speaking differently. And I'm addressing my parents differently, mainly. Because I never really, although like my mum, she respected me highly and she brought me up amazingly, and especially my father, in terms of looking after me, putting a roof over my head. I was typical kids, mum, leave me alone.
The etiquettes of respecting your parents
wasn't there. Yeah, and that's why I looked up to my brother. Now when I look back at it, he always had that respect. He addressed them properly, and I think now looking back at it, it was great seeing that from my brother. But in terms of myself, she knew that it would change me, and she saw that change, and I think that's why it became even easier for my dad to accept, because my mum was so open and welcoming to it. So.
And in terms of let's say not immediate family, but relatives, cousins, back in South Africa, even here, how did they take you being a Muslim?
So in the UK, I don't have too much of a family here. It's just literally like my dad's brother and his children, etc. But them, they were happy with it. Alhamdulillah, they came to my wedding when I got married. There's nothing really negative that's come from it. I don't really see them. I don't know if it's in our culture. Like, I don't know what it is, but we don't really see our family as much as others do. And so I've not really experienced any negativity from them. Even like when I've gone to South Africa as a Muslim with my mum and dad, they were more than welcoming. They made me a halal braai. The khoiki as well as like a bowl of stew, and they were like, yeah, I'll make you a halal one. So in terms of like embracing it, I think especially the people in South Africa, it's a lot easier for them. They're a lot more accepting to other cultures and religions and stuff, Here it's a little bit different, but I've never really experienced any negativity from my parents.
Because in Durban, you know what they say about Durban?
Yeah.
Durban says the largest amount of Asians outside India.
Durban
has the largest concentration.
I was born there, but it was for a very small time we were there, and then we moved to the UK.
Okay.
So like 3 years.
That's the highest
of concentration of India, in the whole globe.
That's 300 million in India, isn't it?
Outside India, though.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out, though. So they got 300 million.
No. So let's say, like, for example, in one country, there might be 1 million Asians.
So
that's going to have 2 million or something like this. So meaning outside India,
there's
a lot more than any other place.
But so, like, Islam is beautiful over there. Like I went to a masjid when I went, like I think it was in 2018 before I got married with my parents. Like the last time I went.
Yeah.
Before that, I hadn't gone for years, and they had like cows outside the masjid, everything like that, ready to slaughter. That's crazy.
No, not even like, for example, the stance of the South African government in support of Palestine.
Yeah, beautiful.
They're the ones who have taken it to the
100%.
International Court of Justice in South Africa. And one of the ministers, she's a lady, she's a Muslim, and the way she speaks in defense of the Palestinians and stuff. So people do say in South Africa, the Muslims, I think it was from Mandela's time. So he got a lot of support from Muslims. Yeah. And then he also said, look, while I'm here, Muslims are going to be protected. So they kind of like have that.
Yeah, it's thinking about it now, there's a lot of love over there. There's a lot of different cultures and religions. So they're very acceptable. But in terms of like myself, when I first took Shahada, just going back to your question.
Yeah, but how was it?
How was it? It was, it was at the start, it was very, it was different. My mum and dad had to understand that I can't eat and drink certain things and stuff like that. And in terms of my people around me, they weren't bothered about it. It was just.
Or was it easy for you to give up the vices that maybe you was upon those times?
No, it was very difficult. I'm going to be very honest with you. I was still around the people I was around. My relationship hadn't fully developed with my parents yet. But I think once I moved to London, that's when the reality kicked in. I had one brother. He was like, "Bro, what are you on? Like, you say you believe this and that." Like, there was things I learned from when I was in small little bits, and I thought I was right going there, and I had a big wake up call. I met brothers that were just firm, and they told me how it is. And
you didn't meet Abdul Latif. You're lucky you didn't meet Abdul Latif. You're gonna take you to the next level, bro.
Yeah, like
he's respecting it, bro.
Yeah, no.
Guys like you be like, I can't.
Listen, man. He's talking about another level. He ain't seen your level yet.
No, but when I came,
sometimes you need it, Akhi.
Yeah, I had a big wake up.
Look. For me, when it comes to giving advice or whatever. There are times to be shadidi, man. I know sometimes you like the softy touch.
Mashallah.
But there are times in life, it depends on who your friend is as well and how
I agree. How the
relationships you have.
Exactly.
I can't just meet a man from the streets and be like, stop doing this. It ain't gonna work like that. But if I know me and you have a relationship and I know I want better for you, I can be a bit more shadid. I can be a bit more, you're better than that.
There was a process before anyways. Like he wasn't just like a guy that just hotted me up. We had a conversation. He took me out for food and there was a relationship there already.
So
So
I'm
you
saying,
could,
took him out for food.
Yeah,
He's them behind it, akhi.
yeah.
No.
I thought I was right.
We're not just taking it on them, akhi. Not just telling
I was
him make
right
your
when I came.
feet like that, bro. There's knowledge. There's wisdom.
So yeah, I thought I was right when I was coming there. I was like, yeah, no.
What do you mean by you was right? Sorry, I didn't get that.
I thought what I had been taught. I don't want to go into.
No, but I'm saying you thought you was on the right way of thinking.
Yeah.
And then when you came here,
when I came here, I tried putting myself forward in that way, and they obviously weren't happy with it.
Okay.
So they said, no, this is how it is.
Okay.
And then they taught me, and then they showed me the evidences, etc. And Alhamdulillah, I changed myself, and I cut out a lot of stuff. When I came to London specifically, I cut out stuff like cold turkey because there was no access to it. I don't know people here.
Yeah, but I think there's a wisdom behind even that story that, Nabi Muhammad ﷺ talks about the man who killed 99 people. There's a wisdom behind,
100%.
Not that you've done that madness, but there's a wisdom behind being somewhere, creating a lot of issues, and then going to another place to change, because you don't have all of that.
Exactly.
People looking over you. You don't have that negativity of, I beat up that person last week, or do you get what I mean? It's a different. So it gives you that kind of openness to be like, you know what, I can be a different person. I don't have to play the role or the character that I played in another area. I can be a whole new person and become this person in reality. Because sometimes you can fake something. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with being fake in something. Like I can be a fake nice person to be a nice person. Do you get what I mean? Sometimes people are like, oh, you're faking it. No, you're not faking it, but you're faking it to be a better person. So that becomes your character. Yeah. And so you was around good people. Maybe I
agree.
Study few brothers, it looks like you was around maybe, but Alhamdulillah, they have their goodnesses as well, akhi.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like I had some people come up to me, they were like, they'd sit me down, because I'm Jadid, you know what I'm saying? I'm a new Muslim. Yeah. I'm coming here with I have my tracksuit on, I'm just a bit like, I had that, and I didn't really have this attitude that I wanted to learn. But then when these brothers came down, I was praying, Alhamdulillah, like I'd go to the prayer room, etc., and I'd spend some time there, and that's where they'd meet me. Yeah. And one guy took me to the computers, and he was like, yo, let me just chat to you quick. And this is one of these guys that ended up leaving university. Okay. Oh, no, you shouldn't listen to these people, and took me to these. Yeah, he showed me his laptop, and he had like a whole website. Okay, and I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm not listening to you, bro." And I just moved from him, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm not on it. I don't want to be around these kind of people. And then I had the soft-hearted brothers that addressed me properly. Said, "Listen, this is how it is." And alhamdulillah, since then, I changed my ways, and I cut out a lot of stuff, and then the direction, alhamdulillah, running the right way, alhamdulillah. I think so, wallahi, the statement for Prophet in terms of, you're on the religion of your friends. When you hear that and you look back at the people you was around in the past and how Allah slowly takes these things away from you in your life and then replaces it with khair, it's a blessing. And we don't think about it enough. I genuinely believe that I don't think about it enough. Only recently I really started to think about who I was when I was younger and how Allah changes, the shift of who you have around you, the things that you was doing in that time, how he removes those things from your life. Yeah. And he gives you hidayah, subhanAllah.
Yeah, I think even an extension of that understanding of the hadith could be, obviously the Prophet ﷺ saying you are upon the religion of your friend. Yeah. An extension of that could be the things you're watching nowadays. Because remember, most people today, man, spend more time on this than they actually do with physical people. Yeah. So if we take it from that angle, what you're watching regularly, that you're into as well. That becomes random your character. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you're watching TikTok, and I remember the thing with TikTok and all of these people, the things that you like show up more and more. Yeah. The algorithm. That's how the algorithm works. So if I keep liking, I don't know, gangster movies or certain kind of things, that's gonna repeat and repeat. That now becomes your character. The saddest thing is the algorithm knows you more than yourself nowadays, and even your family. You the things that the youth probably have on their phones, their phone knows so much about this person and they've been on it so much that the people around them don't even know who you are anymore. For real. Because no one's watching you. No one's watching you. Remember, you're pressing on things that you probably wouldn't press if someone else was next to you. SubhanAllah. If your dad was next to you, you wouldn't press it. If your wife was probably next to you, you wouldn't press it. But if you'd agree, Imam, that this is in essence a lack of understanding of who Allah is for the youth. Because if you would, then you'd fear Him, and you'd think, when you're in private, you wouldn't be doing these things. Of course, we're not perfect as well. That's a level of consciousness, so that comes. It doesn't come with just being a Muslim. That's a higher level of understanding of who you don't need a CCTV to change you. Yeah. That's what the system today we have is, if a CCTV is there, someone's not going to commit a crime. But as a Muslim who thinks higher than that, you don't need that CCTV to be there for you not to commit a crime. Because you're thinking there's someone far above that watches me every single day what I'm doing. That's a higher level of consciousness, which, of course, some of us don't even have. Do you know what I mean? That boils back down to the family, I think, as well. And I think now as a revert and growing up, having children and bringing them up,
having that foundation of understanding who Allah is from the get-go, from the beginning, and you practicing that within yourself and being a representation of the religion, as opposed to forcing it down their throats. That's naturally they're going to grow up with them same morals. And
keep in mind, sometimes, you know, we're educating and we're regurgitating just kind of like to memorize. It might just be the Quran or even pillars of Islam or Iman. Kids are not understanding. So even with the names and attributes of Allah as an example, the people, you know, getting the kids to understand what these names actually mean. You know, you say Al-Raqib, watchful, Al-Basir, all-seeing, Al-Sami, all-hearing, you know, Al-Khabir, the all-aware. When they understand Allah and Allah's names and attributes, there's a different conscience that will be inside the kids. I remember, you know, you mentioned about the phone. There was a lecture I was listening to from Saudi Arabia, some sheikh, and he said they found a phone. The father passed away, so the kids found the phone, and they started going through like the search, you know, history. He said, "Well, our dad used to watch this stuff." So you're right, in that. It's like you'll be ashamed for somebody to see, but look, Allah's watching that you're watching this. But you're right, and it has an impact not just on the mind, on the heart, and on the soul, and on the iman.
100%.
And on the family as well, like how you portray yourself to your children.
Yeah.
100%. And
how they look at you.
I think that rolls back into one of the reasons I thought to bring you on was that that's the generation we're living in, Akhi. The generation that we're living in today is a generation of information.
And consummation.
It's not the
and consummation, consuming.
Not consummation. Oh, yeah, consumption.
Consumption.
Consummation is a bit halal stuff that happens at home with a missus.
Delete the weed stuff and delete the consummation stuff in this.
Definitely remove that bit.
But the point I was going to make is
X-rated podcast.
Yeah, bro.
Because the wrong podcast.
I like to make mistakes. You know, consumption, consummation.
Yeah.
It sounds similar.
Consummation.
But
he made one before and had to delete that. Remember
which one? Don't repeat that. Don't repeat.
Don't expose him.
And what was I making? You made me flip my mindset. I said, yes, the reason why one of the reasons why I was to get you on was that we're living in an age of information, meaning this is what the world is on about. Even when you talk about Facebook and all this, you think Facebook is a company that has a website. They're an information company. They sell your details, they sell what you're looking at to other advert people to sell to you. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? So the position that you're in, mashallah, that we're trying to push guys like you to be in the forefront, inshallah, is we need to create more content that counters all of this. Because it's easy to say this is the problem, or we're having, you know, these type of things going up or this and that, rather than having a solution as to, okay, well, how can we now do a content creation regularly with guys like you, mashallah, that can give advice, which you're doing already, mashallah, that can push the narrative at the opposite. Because I think Shuaib, one of the clips we put up yesterday, was talking about that, you know, Shaitan has his armies right now. And his armies are working left, right, center, everywhere. And us lot so-called practicing Muslims, it's like we're happy to be just doing the basics in life and say we're doing good. Do you get what I mean? Rather than how we fight and how we countering.
It's almost a level of selfishness, you know, not wanting to partake in supporting the youth or creating things that counter what is being made. Because we don't want to feel like we're going to get into haram, or we feel like we're going to, you know, make stuff that's not great, or, you know, we're going to be wasting our time. There's so many things. It's shaitan as well, man. Shaitan gets
not trying to make you do good.
Yeah, not exactly. Like, I think the stuff that I've made recently is obviously, I'm trying my best, but, you know, I'm showing people that it's very easy to make content without music.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Especially with content being so short and feasible and creatable nowadays. Why do you need to have a music video in, like a music track in there? Doesn't make sense.
Two sides of it. You never use music.
Yeah, not one musical instrument was used in that.
It's just vocals.
Yeah.
But I think he's pointing to a few things. One was, you know, when you mentioned in your early, you mentioned about influence of friends. At the same time, you know, with the hadith of the Prophet, where look, if you kind of like walk to Allah, Allah runs to you. Yeah, and I mean by it, you also wanted a sense of khair and goodness. Yeah. And, you know, you sought it in Doncaster. Now you wanted kind of like a higher level of kind of like knowledge and understanding. You made the effort. You came to London. You met some brothers. So that part is kind of like, you know, also a bit of effort from you was made for Allah Ta'ala to open, you know, all the other opportunities for you from a religious perspective. But I think Abdul Latif's point now is, look, and that's going back to the two sides. It shouldn't stop. Yeah? And it doesn't mean, okay, it's going to happen tomorrow or a year's time. But between yourself, Shuaib, the other team, everybody needs to sit together because youngsters need mentoring, youngsters need support. Allah brought that lady in your life to kind of like give you a direction of positivity, which eventually resulted in you getting a skill and coming towards Islam. Now youngsters need that from you. They also need kind of like positive or practical support to get into that industry. And like you said, look, that's it.
I've started that already, alhamdulillah. I've launched something about a year ago, just over a year ago, called the Muslim Creatives. Yeah. So it's a community of Muslims. Alhamdulillah, right now we have about 650 creatives in one Telegram group.
Okay. That's the one Shuaib is part of as well, isn't it?
No, this is something I'm doing.
Okay, mashallah.
There's another brother called Abdulmadik from Birmingham.
Okay, good.
And alhamdulillah, like in October last year, we had an exhibition where we had Muslim professionals, creatives, and they were giving like, short kind of reminders and their story and how they became successful, etc. And I think one important thing is as well, it's not just the content that we make, but also being a representative of ourselves and being a Muslim creative. So when people are out on social media creating content, the Muslims can look up to Muslim creatives.
Yeah.
So then they can say, okay, I can follow him because I know that if I follow him, I'm not going to fall into something silly. And I trust him with what he's saying and I'll follow what he's doing. So we create this community in a way of being able to network with like-minded people, and doing it in a halal way and not doing, falling into crazy stuff. So we have a Telegram group and it's, it's grown. We've provided like around 40 jobs in there. Some people have like, secured full-time jobs, part-time jobs, contracts. So that was the main purpose, to create a community. And we're doing that right now, alhamdulillah. We're trying to uplift people, and especially the creative field, because it's very difficult if you don't have that guidance. And, the creative field, you can easily fall into haram, easily. One click of a button, you've got a music video on there, or one click of a button, you can put a lady that's uncovered on your video. There's so much behind it that is, especially with AI now, you can make whatever you want. So I think being able to give people that guidance in terms of professionals, community, feeling a part of something. Like when I was starting my journey in creativity as a Muslim, I didn't ever want to have a real Muslim person to look up to until I went to Iman channel. I was like, how do I make content? Like, it was very different than YouTube videos. It wasn't about short form content. Now you have it's so easily accessible to meet different creatives, especially with like this community that we've built, So.
But also, Tim, in terms of, the general principle is everything is halal unless otherwise stated.
Yeah.
So what Islam gives you, you can function in life as a Muslim, but you've got to have boundaries that Allah Ta'ala has legislated. Yeah, so meaning, for youngsters to know, this is haram and this is haram and this is haram. But within those boundaries, you can do something which is Islamic and will be okay. Because sometimes what we might say is, not us generally, but you're Muslims, you can't do media, you can't do this, that's haram, that's haram. No, look, no, you can do media, like you're saying, giving the youngsters alternatives with boundaries so that you can use your skill in the right way, like you've been doing. So I think that's important, that message to get to youngsters, because not everybody, like yourself, that lady found a skill, creativity. Yeah. Maybe you weren't good in geography or maths, but your skill was here. There'll be many other Muslim youngsters who have skills in certain areas, like media, that need to be supported and guided.
That's what I'm trying to advocate right now as well, is that, especially with what's going on in Gaza, we have to look back at our community and to grow our communities. It's been so long that we've been spending our money in these non-Muslim businesses and, helping them. And at the same time, why have we not looked back at our community? Why have we not said, I'm going to be a service to the Muslim community and to Muslim businesses? We don't have to earn the hundreds of thousands of pounds that we'd maybe secure at another organization where we can help and grow our community.
100%. 100%.
It's very difficult, It's hard. Obviously, we know that finance is not easy. The day we're living in, some people they can't afford to pay certain amounts, but being able to support our communities, I think, can be more important.
The only thing with that I would say is, look, finance is easy.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Muslims who are wealthy.
Yeah.
A lot of Muslim businessmen and women, a lot of millionaires. The problem is they're not using their funds and their wealth in the right way. Yeah, you're using it in the wrong way. Come on, fund these industries, fund the Muslim, creative kind of like creators and so on.
Yeah.
All right, just to wrap up, just due to time. So you're obviously in the content creation world. What maybe advice or foresight? Yeah, foresight, innit? That you can see the youngsters to get into, to push a narrative maybe to get into, or maybe even an angle within the industry that you reckon youngsters can get into. So just your advice with regards to the whole industry. So
in terms of creativity, it's a broad sector. There's so many different avenues you can go down. But I'd always say, look, have a person you can look up to. Number one, in terms of learning from, attaining skills from, as Muslims, we usually go to one teacher, we study with them, we spend our time with them. If you can spend time with somebody that's been in the industry, like for instance myself, when I go to shoots, I try to take as many young brothers as I can on board with me, so I can help train them, help develop them. So try and be with somebody that can help and develop you in terms of your knowledge. If you can't do that, then just make as much as possible, but at the same time, study your religion and learn the boundaries. Like Imam was saying, you know, don't go across these boundaries, but at the same time, you know, learn from a non-Muslim, but as long as you're not going with, you know, past those boundaries and falling into haram, because it's very easy in the creative field. Just stay firm on your religion. You know, I actually done a reel today about it. You know, networking is very important. Speaking to people, you never know who you'll end up meeting. You know, being able to be consistent with what you're doing and active, you know, building up your personal brand, building up yourself and not forgetting yourself, because that's what a lot of people do. You know, when you get into the creative sector, whether it be graphic design, filmmaking, video making, sound design, they'll make stuff for other people, but they'll forget about themselves. You know, you'll get lost in the contract world where you just be building stuff for people and creating stuff for people. You're not building yourself. So never forget yourself. I think that's also a really key point. Yeah.
Well, by yourself, you mean like branding wise, like you're
self-branding is the you know, the go-to now in terms of being a creative, because most creatives who are self-branding themselves, they're the ones that are taking the clients from people. And if you haven't got a self-branding, you're not pushing yourself out there, these people are going to take your clients. And that's what I've learned the hard way. You know, there was a time where I wasn't putting my stuff out on social media or putting my name out there or networking with people, and I wasn't getting the clients. You know,
and even though you're the man behind the scenes,
exactly,
these people the clients.
Exactly, yeah.
So on that point, Tim, I mean, you know, some of the brothers who have been, they've been active in different fields, you know, artistic fields, might be behind the scenes like yourself, or even you know, the speakers or the spoken word artists and so on. They felt let down by the Muslim community, especially maybe Muslim organizations, feeling they've been used rather than benefiting. What do you think about that?
I'd say, you know, stick with the people that you can relate to. I think one massive difference that's happened with me over the last few years, and I've felt less put down by people when I've been around people that I understand and that I appreciate and who I can relate to. You know, there was a point in my life when I spoke about this earlier, when I became Muslim. I was trying to be somebody, when I started practicing, I was trying to be somebody that I'm not. And I'm around people that I wouldn't really necessarily be around if I wasn't a Muslim. So because I kind of lost myself in terms of who I was, my identity and what I was trying to do and as a person.
Okay.
So once I kind of started meeting people that I was relatable with, you know, we've gone through similar stories or we've gone through similar background. I think connecting with people that are like-minded, you've come around the same kind of, you know, grow up and in terms of development. I think finding those people will help you and you won't feel left out or put down by people. And also setting an expectation, you know, because unfortunately the way it is in the Muslim world, you know, people are, you know, very particular in terms of where they put their money, you know, and you have to just understand that and prepare for that and say to yourself, you know, this is the industry I'm going to get into and this is unfortunately how it is. Let me just create a positive mindset within myself and move forward in the right direction. Be positive with what I'm doing and believe in yourself.
When you say relate to, do you mean by from a revert background? Do you mean from a British-born background? What do you mean?
Different types. So myself, like I've connected more recently with revert brothers and also not just revert brothers, but people who've been through a similar kind of, you know, lifestyle as myself. And that's helped me a lot in terms of growing and also people that you can look up to from a financial and business perspective and, you know, and deen perspective. If you have people that you can look up to, you'll always develop.
Okay.
So since I've been doing that and realizing that and kind of moving away from all the people that weren't really helping me in certain instances, then that's helped me a lot. And I would always say, as a creative, if you can be around people that will elevate you in terms of your work ethic, your mindset, your personality, and people you can relate to, and you're not stirring away and trying to be somebody you're not, I think it will help you in the long run.
Do you think that was your reason for not changing your name from Timothy to?
No, not really. I think me not changing my name, it was more of an honor thing for my mum, because I knew there wasn't. Obviously, we know the Prophet said, you know, the beloved names to Allah is, you know, Abdullah, etc., and the Prophets, you know. But when I kind of, you know, as I was going through my journey, I didn't really want to remove that honor from my mum. I didn't want to feel like I'm taking her, she's losing her son. You know, I didn't want her to feel like that. So my mum's, you know, she's very sensitive and, you know, she's gone through a lot herself, and I didn't really want to, you know, break that relationship because, you know, I didn't want to be too strict on her, you know.
Yeah, you didn't need to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a negative name or anything like that. And I think, like we was talking about behind the scenes, that a lot of people, even though it comes from a nice place, a good place, that they want you to change your name to a so-called Muslim name.
Yeah.
the sunnah is to keep your name unless it's an evil name or it has something
exactly.
that's, atheistic or whatever it
Exactly,
may be.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Or sometimes what it is person's becoming a Muslim and they expect now your name, which might be, let's say, English, French, Italian, whatever it might be, you can't have that culture or that name from that language. You've got to take an Arabic name or an Asian name, or and so on. And that's a misunderstanding on their part. Meaning, I can be white English, or I can be French, or I can be Italian and be a Muslim. And as long as my culture doesn't contradict Islam, those aspects of culture should be okay.
That's who you are. That's what your foundations.
Exactly.
I think it didn't. It was difficult. When I first kind of grasped that from my parents. But alhamdulillah, as I grew older and as I met people that were more relatable, and I kind of tunnel visioned what I wanted to do. Having the right people around me is it's helped me massively. And I'd say to any creative that's out there and are on their journey, or even if you're not a creative, if you're a Muslim and you feel like you're going in a direction you feel uncomfortable with, look for the people that you can relate to.
Do you think, Tim, because we met a few times, but I don't think
you haven't spoken like this fully, like
not fully, so I'm quite interested in kind of like your journey and stuff. I think our chats have been very brief, or it's been at events or at the masjid or Iman channel and so on. So just listening to you, do you think, because from the times I've met you very early on to even today, I see a bit of a shift. Shift in your character. Do you think you had kind of like also you could say a roller coaster kind of like relationship with aspects of Islam, especially cultural aspects? Maybe, okay, you know what, I need to be wearing the thobe now. I need to be wearing that hat.
I don't wear a thobe anymore.
So what? Just explain that journey to me briefly.
So like I said, like I went through not an identity crisis, but like because I've come from, it's literally an extreme of one specific lifestyle. One specific lifestyle now to where I'm changing my whole way I'm living, and I'm not around the people I'm around, so I don't have that mental support. At the start, it was very difficult. I can't lie. So I only knew what was around me. So the people I was around, they were wearing phobes, they were doing X, Y, and Z. They were going. It was good, alhamdulillah. They were involving me in good, which is But at the same time, that's not who I am. And I've grown up in a certain way and around certain people, and I've lived my life in a certain way, and I've established morals for my parents in a certain way. So I kind of went through an identity crisis in a way where, I didn't really know which direction I really wanted to be in terms of who I am as a person. But then once I started living here and I met people and I started experiencing different things, that's when I started to tunnel vision, well, okay, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. And, I stopped, not in a way that phobes are a bad thing, but just me as a person, I just like representing, like having a beard is enough. Like people can see me now as a Muslim, so I kind of, I just went through that journey and, I just stayed away from it.
Because even with the companions, what going on? He's looking at me like, what are you saying? He doesn't like me talking too much.
What we know of Imam is when we say we're going to wrap up, then he'll be like, so tell me when you were 2 years old, what did you do?
The beginning of the journey.
We're just about wrapping up. He'll ask you a question, Akhi, from the beginning. Finish your last one.
No, so, Tim, in terms of the companions, it's not that. So you've got, a general sense of how you're going to be, your identity. But there's also something which you as an individual. Abu Bakr was different from Umar. Umar was different from Uthman. And Uthman is different from Ali. And Ali is different from Hamza. And Hamza is different from Khalid. And similar with the Sahabi and the female companions. So, you as a person, did you eventually find yourself, as an individual, look, this is the person I am now as an individual, and I've got to somehow fit myself like this into Islam? Did you reach that kind of like journey?
Yeah, and at the start it was kind of just like go with the flow kind of thing. But as I got married, I experienced life as a Muslim in as a Muslim household. And I started to see different aspects of myself that I'd never seen before in terms of, being a father, being a husband, looking after my wife and providing for my family. All of these different things, they it sculptured me into a different person. And at the same time in doing that, I've now met people that I can relate to, I can speak to about my problems, I can look up to as well from a financial and business perspective. And those kind of things have really shaped me. And because, like I said, I've moved to somewhere I don't know anyone. So it was a big change for me. And I was kind of moving with the flow with the people I was around. But now that I'm situated and I've got a family and, I've grown as a person, as a man in terms of my age as well. Those things naturally have changed,
Last question, last one.
You probably saw me when I was a skinny man wearing a thobe.
No, that's right.
No beard, subhanAllah. When I used to live in, there was a short period I lived in Deptford.
Yeah.
You used to see me a lot when I used to come with Ayman as well. I used to come here a lot.
Yeah,
I was close to Ayman. I used to pray here in my room.
Ayman, no, not Akhi Ayman. You're talking about the other Ayman.
No, Akhi Ayman.
Akhi Ayman, okay.
Yeah.
Were you close to the other Ayman?
Ayman who?
What's his other?
He was from Deptford, the white brother.
No, he lived in West London, but he used to come and teach in the school as well.
Ayman. No, I don't know.
Nasheed, he done Nasheeds and stuff.
But no, I came. You
know him? Ayman, it's called him Ayman or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, no,
Nasheeds,
no.
Okay.
Ayman Nasheeds.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Quite talented in his, in it? And it's kind of like...
No, but yeah, I lived in Deptford for a short period of time. That's probably when you saw me the most.
Okay.
The first time I've come to a masjid and for iftar having rice and peas and chicken and Allahumma barik. It's beautiful.
And I didn't call you up, yeah?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Did call you up?
No, I didn't. This is when I was jadid, bro. I was young, man.
So I'll call you up today, though. After
no, astaghfirullah, please don't.
Just warning you now, man. I'll call you up Maghrib today.
What's your last question?
Yeah, the point was... in terms of like your message to, let's say, white non-Muslims and white Muslims, in terms of, look, can Islam relate with you? Yeah, in terms as a culture,
Islam relates to everybody. It's not a culture. It's not a tangible thing that you can say is a culture, but I'd say it fits around with you in terms of your natural beliefs as a human being, believing in a higher power, and being in a way of life that's pure in terms of how you deal with your money, how you use the bathroom. All of these things is a big shell shock to somebody, because when you look at the society that we live in, the things they make the money from is what our religion prohibits. The fornication, the riba, all of these things, our religion prohibits it, and this is the society's making its most money from it. This is why our religion's been so combated to a point where they're making us look bad for a reason, because they know that we have the kryptonite.
using women as commodities as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's in the industry.
We have the kryptonite and they don't like it.
No.
You get me?
The only thing is, we're the Superman. I don't know. Kryptonite is usually used to kill the Superman. We're the Superman. They're the kryptonite, bro. End of story. But finally, because we always like to ask people, obviously you can give an Islamic reminder or you can give a content creation reminder. What is the most important thing to you as a person? Like,
I'd say right now, be true to yourself in terms of who you are as a person. Don't be somebody you're not. And at the same time, always be involved in khair and be around people that will remind you of good, remind you of Allah, and will keep you on the right path. Because the moment you kind of leave those good people, you'll naturally see yourself going in the wrong direction. Because you'll never have those people to bring you back. If I didn't have those people to bring me back, I'd say, yo, bro, what are you doing? I don't know where I'd be right now.
Abdul Latif, the ones that telling you not to hang around.
There was one brother specifically, he even said to me to delete social media. Wallahi, by Allah. He said to me, you're going in the wrong direction, bro. Delete social media. I deleted social media. I was off social media for like years. For maybe like a good year and a half.
Huh? That helped you?
It helped me a lot. Yeah, it helped me a lot.
Delete social media. Delete social media.
I might have to.
But you know what?
But you know what? It's different. I've always said about the whole social media thing. It's just how you use it, man.
How you use it.
You have to know who you are as a person.
I agree.
Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? You have to know who you are.
Have the right people around you though that can say, listen.
100%. People around you.
Why you laugh? Why are you looking at him like this?
Huh?
He's justifying his.
No. We were just talking about.
I was going in the right direction. That's why they said it to me. A lot of young people like that. Mashallah, they're using it for great reasons. So
yeah. It just depends on who.
I mean, it's a tool. You can't really.
It's a knife, like you said. It's a knife. A knife is there to cut. You can either stab someone with it, or you can cook some food.
I agree.
It's up to you. So that's the same with social
media. Cook food with a knife. What food you cooking, bro?
If you've been in prison, you know how to.
You
have to know how to use the things, akhi. You understand? Everything. إنما الأعمال
بالنيات.
You already know, man. All right, we'll finish off with that. Jazakumullah khair for coming.
Jazakumullah khair for bringing me, bro. I really appreciate it as well.
Coming. Thank you for
honor being here again. SubhanAllah, seeing the masjid, seeing the community, and you brothers.
Hasn't finished yet, Tim. You got to do the reminder after Maghrib. Say that afterwards.
Second round.
5-minute reminder. Sure.
Jazakumullah khair for everyone watching, and we'll catch you all on the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.